Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Harrah's Hoosier Park for another race in the Road to the Derby Challenge. Michael Chamberlain and Jacob Reinheimer here in the Dan Patch studio. And Jacob, this time we're going to take a look at the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Of course, this is the race last year that produced the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan.
Yeah, always a race to keep an eye on here in the Arkansas Derby, and I think a couple really nice standouts. Nice field of 9, going a mile and an eighth, $1.5 million on the line. Nice little pickup if you're heading towards that Derby.
Yeah, they don't spare the money down there in Hot Springs. That's for sure. As you said, a field of 9, going a mile and an eighth, and again, this is a race that is, as you said, a very key stop on the road to the Derby. As we have a field of 9, let's take a look at our selections, and we do agree on the top pick here with the 6 Sandman for trainer Mark Casse. Jose Ortiz riding. The sire is Tappet out of a Distorted Humor mare, a $1.2 million purchase back in March of 2024. Was third behind Coal Battle and Mataket Road in the Grade 2 Rebel, had been second behind Speed King in the Southwest, so has hit the board in both previous Arkansas prep races leading up to this Arkansas Derby, but has yet to get to that winner's circle.
This could be this year's Tappet Trice for me that I just absolutely talk myself into come Kentucky Derby time, because he's a horse that has no early gate speed, but he always comes calling at the end of these races, just runs out of time. That was the case in the Rebel and the Southwest for trainer Mark Casse. Gets Jose Ortiz aboard once again, so, or actually for the first time, right, here in the Arkansas Derby. So I think there's a lot to like for Sandman, and one of those horses that I'm absolutely going to talk myself into.
The thing too about this is he's by Tappet. Now we know Tappet is the sire of sires, but his progeny in the Kentucky Derby have not necessarily come to the fore. So this horse could be very interesting come first Saturday in May in 5 weeks. But I do have him on top along with you here, and I did that more because I think the pace in this race is going to collapse, because you've got Speed King who's going to go. You've got Cornucopian, who should go from that outside post. We'll see how they play that, because this is a very young horse with only one start, that coming on February 23rd. So with all that speed, I think you're going to see going out to the front, someone's going to come from off the pace, and this was just the one I landed on. I also think Coal Battle could go, but they did take back off the pace slightly in the Rebel and still managed to win that race at odds of 12-1. Juan Vargas was aboard for that and will ride again today. I do have this horse second by Coal Front out of a midshipman mare, as opposed to the $1.2 million top pick. This horse was a $70,000 purchase in 2023. 2 for 2 on the Oaklawn track, had won the Smarty Jones previously in early January. We'll see how this one does, stepping up a little bit here into the Arkansas Derby, because you've got some new shooters in here too.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting one, including the horse to his outside, which is actually where I go for my second selection in Cornucopian. Talked about him, 1 win in 1 start, that and maiden here over the Oaklawn Park surface. That going 6 furlongs though. He's trained by Bob Baffert though, and he's one of these horses where you hear about all the speed he has. It's just going to be a matter of whether he can handle the distance and this kind of company at the distance.
Well, and theoretically, Buy Into Mischief out of a Distorted Humor mare, you would think he's going to have enough bottom to go the distances that he's going to be asked to go moving forward here. John Velasquez is in to ride. So, you know, you got really impressive human connections with this horse. And again, with the 1 start, a very impressive 6 furlong win, but now going around 2 turns for the first time, drew the far outside post. I just had to kind of see it. You know, I ended up going with this one third. I had to see it to believe it with Cornucopian. And honestly, I just don't know if 2 starts are going to be enough come May 3rd when you're talking about Churchill Downs.
Yeah, it's interesting that this is the horse that Baffert opted to put in the spot here. And he gets tagged with the 7-5 favoritism, even from the far outside, off just that 1 start. So there's obviously a lot of upside. It's just a matter of whether this week's the week he puts it all together.
Well, and I mentioned in the discussion on Sandman, he sent Mataket Road to Florida, who's going to run in the Florida Derby on Saturday. So interesting little bit of a chess moves there from trainer Bob Baffert. So we do have the same top 3, just a little bit of a jumbled order. After that, I decided to throw a little long shot into the mix with the 4 Best Friend Rocket by Curlin out of a Noble Causeway mare. Dwayne Lucas is the trainer. He just keeps winning. What is he, like 87 or something like that? And he just keeps sending out winners. He had Seize the Gray in the Preakness last year. He has, got some strong candidates again this year. And so you certainly can't sell the coach out. Won with this one with Nick Juarez aboard on March 2nd, 20-1 on the morning line. So I decided to throw this one forth.
I went right next door. I went with the 3 Publisher, who's also coming out of the Rebel. Actually left himself a little bit more work to do than even Sandman did in that Rebel, as he was 10th going around the second turn, rallied to finish 4th. He's another one I think he's going to need the pace to fall apart. He's a nice little stalker. I hope he can stalk from just off the pace, and I think he can be a factor late. Hard to believe he's 0 for 6 lifetime, but he's hit the board 4 times. He's the son of American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown champion, so he's got the pedigree to be able to handle this. For trainer Steve Asmussen, who is still in search of that first Derby win.
And they're adding blinkers on that horse, too. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that turns out. Flavien Prat will have the ride. So a very interesting field of 9 going postward at Oaklawn. The 13th race on their program on Saturday post time. Expected to be almost close to 8 o'clock our time, about 7:48. So we'll be right in the heart of our card on Saturday night here at Harrah's Hoosier Park. So if you're here for the live racing, be sure to check out the simulcast of the Arkansas Derby. As we say, this race has a knack for producing Kentucky Derby winners. We might be seeing the horse that wears the roses come the first Saturday in May. And of course, as we do have our live racing program on Saturday, we also invite you to be here for that. Stay through the entire evening. And we remind you that if you're going to get into the Road to the Derby Challenge, you've got to get to one of those trackside promotional kiosks to get your selections in. And it's still not too late to do some damage in this contest.
Absolutely. 5 contest races left in these last 2 weeks of the contest, but still a lot of opportunity to make your way up that leaderboard.
Doubleheader this week, a triple header next week, and Keeneland opens this coming week too. So we'll get to hear the one and only Kurt Becker coming back, who is I'm looking forward to that every spring for sure. So that should be going to be a great weekend next weekend. But this weekend, the Arkansas Derby is the big race with the Florida Derby, and we've got both those races on the road to the Derby. For Jacob Reinheimer, I'm Michael Chamberlain, wishing the best of luck to you all.